Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm happy to say I have the G21 complete. Okay, so this is my first G21, and I got it working. I did a prior video on some of the issues I had with building this. Main issue I had was with the housing fitting into the frame. The first trigger group that I got, the first lower parts kit I got was from OC Triggers, but it was a Lone Wolf lower parts kit, and it gave me some problems. Now I did have to basically fit the housing into the frame, and I talked about that in a prior video about how I had to shave down the housing so that it would sit flush with the frame over here. But I still had problems with the trigger group working properly. I heard of other people having problems with the Lone Wolf triggers. Sent that back, got an OEM lower parts kit, put that in. I still had some issues with, same issues actually, with fitting the housing into the frame. I did a video. This time, instead of shaving the trigger housing to make it fit the frame, I decided to shave the inside of the frame to get it to fit to the housing. The reason why I spoke about this in my prior video. The reason why I did it that way, because I know you're not supposed to change the frame, you're supposed to change the parts. However, right now I only have one OEM lower parts kit, and I have several frames. So to me right now the frames are the disposable parts. So I didn't want to experiment with the lower parts kit. So I modified the frame a little bit. I talked about it in the prior video. It was just a minor adjustment to get it to fit in there flush, which I did get it to do. And then as soon as I got it in there, I was able to cycle the gun I was able to function test it. I did have a few jamming issues when I was shooting it, and I think the slide was pulling a little too tight onto the frame. So I took the rails out. I basically took the rails out, grinded underneath them to give the slide a little bit more space so it wasn't getting pulled down so tight. That worked pretty good. And then I still saw there was a little bit of drag, and where I believe the drag, because I could see there was a line over here on the slide from this housing rubbing against the slide. So what I did is I did just take a little, basically I just filed it down across the top just a tiny little bit just to reduce the friction a little bit. Did that, and now the gun's working pretty good. I got this thing working pretty good. I just finished zeroing it in. I had it benched at 20 yards, and basically you can see the big 45 holes. So I got one flyer down here, but the other ones are pretty much around my bullseye. So that's at 20 yards. Pretty happy with that. So I got the Holosun 507 ACSS. That's the green dot. Really like this. Got a nice cold witness. The way I managed to get the sights so that my chevron sits on top of my front sight. So they're not over each other. The chevron actually sits like creates like a little roof over my front sight. I did have to do a little mixing and matching between these two. So this is not. I think the Mariglow XL is the one that would give you the co-witness. However, usually when I use that, the front sight, basically my chevron sits on top of my front sight, and I don't like it on top of it. I like it just below it. So I did have to do a little bit of mixing and matching between some iron sights that I had to get this to the point that I wanted it. But I was perfectly okay with not having any iron sights on this at all, because I've got the ACSS, which has the big 250 MOA circle to help me find the center. And there's enough cuts in this slide that if I just had, like, let's say I didn't put the front sight in there, I would just have a little hole there. Well, that's just one more little hole on top of all the other big holes. So I would have been perfectly okay with not putting any iron sights on this. However, it matched up perfectly, so I'm just gonna leave it there. I did put the Vickers Tactical Extended slide catch. It's useful for when I'm training people. Normally, when I run my slide, I grab the optic and run it that way. But when I train people, what I'll do is I'll give them the gun locked open, right? I'll get them to aim, and then I'll reach underneath it and I'll trip the slide release. I don't want the gun closed until I'm ready for them to start shooting. So that's the reason why I have the extended slide catch, because it's a useful training thing for me. I do not like the extended mag releases. The one from Lone Wolf did come with an extended mag release. I ended up grinding that down a little bit. That ended up going back anyway. The reason I don't like the extended ones, first of all, a lot of times when people hold the gun, they accidentally trip it, drop the magazines. Or if you put this into a holster, a lot of times the holster will hit this, again, release the magazine. So I like the standard size magazine releases. Okay, so also something interesting, I got OEM mags and I got ETS mags. For the G21, these ETS ones are not working out too great. I saw that the follower kind of got stuck on the way up. Now, I'm not like a magazine snob. For my G17s, I use these ETS ones, 17 rounds all the time. The 30 round ones are garbage. The 22 round ones are also garbage. You know, not as bad as the 30 rounds, but the ETS 17 round ones for the G17, they're pretty good. I use those all the time, training people, no problems with those. But for the G21, so far, because I bought two of Glock OEM ones, and I got two of these ETS ones, and I can see now that I'm just gonna get the Glock OEM one. Okay, so let's fire a couple of rounds with this. Oh, so on this gun over here, the slide is alpha, barrel is alpha. In fact, I got this whole thing as I got the slide parts as a complete kit from MDX Arms. The frame I think came from JSD, and then the Glock OEM trigger came from OC Triggers. So that's all that. So let's put a couple of rounds on this. So definitely more recoil with this with the 45 ACP. I'm using some. I managed to dig up some of this Wolf Classic. Obviously, I don't buy as much 45 ACP as I do with 9mm. In fact, I haven't shot 45 ACP in a while. And I forgot how it actually does recoil significantly more, which is a little odd because when you calculate the energy, like, you know, when I measure my 9mm on a chronograph, energy on that is about 350 foot-pounds. The 45 ACP only comes in at about 380, so the energy is just a little bit more. However, when you do a momentum calculation, that's where you see the difference with the 45 ACP. Anyway, let's put some rounds on range. That target over there. Goes to lockout. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to shoot this one-handed in my left hand to test it. I did test it earlier in my left hand, one-handed. I did get some jams. I still haven't gone through. Obviously, I gotta put at least 200 rounds on this to break it in. Let's see if I do any better now. If the gun does any better with me shooting this one-handed. Okay. What the lockout? So I think I've only shot about 50 rounds. So just with the 50 rounds, there's already a significant improvement with the reliability for this. I didn't get any jams. Went all the way to lockout. I definitely noticed shooting this one-handed, it was definitely moving me a lot more than, you know, obviously when you guys see me shoot 9mm, I can shoot them one-handed and it barely moves. This was definitely moving. I mean, this was like I had to, you know, shoot it, bring it back on target, shoot it. So it's 45 ACP. Definitely is going to have a little bit more recoil. I haven't shot this in a while, so it's like really cool. It's like I'm shooting something at, you know, it's like it feels like I'm shooting something completely new here, you know. I haven't shot this. All my 45 ACP. Basically, I have two other guns right now that shoot 45 ACP. They're both 1911s. I really don't shoot them that much. Like occasionally, I'll shoot it just for, you know, just to shoot a 1911. But basically, I am so sold on the whole idea of optics on pistols that's the reason why I really don't shoot them that much. And I was considering getting the 1911s cut to take an optic. However, it was going to cost something like $200. You know, at $100, I was like, maybe I'll do it because I think that's what it was costing a few years back. At $200, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just build one of these G21s, and that's the road I ended up going down. Really happy I did this. It was a really cool gun. I do have a few more of these frames. Got some FDE ones. I was going kind of back because this is a gray colored slide here. It's not really a black one. So I had one that was darker than this, and I got this one over here. So I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use, but this one came out pretty good. At some point, because I got the FDE ones, at some point if I see a nice slide that's FDE colored, hopefully from Alpha, because I really like their work. If I see an FDE slide, I'll get that and I'll put it on an FDE color frame. And I think that's going to look awesome. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. But this is my first G21 building experience. Hell of a lot of fun. I mean, this is a fun gun to shoot. I mean, shooting this, especially one-handed, is definitely a challenge. I mean, you guys saw that this thing was moving a little bit. Definitely gives me an incentive to practice with this gun and try to get better, because I almost feel embarrassed that when I'm shooting it one-handed, it was moving as much as it was doing, and I got a couple of misses over there. So I actually feel embarrassed. I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to practice a lot more with this gun. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all soon. Follow me on Odyssey. That's an uncensored platform. That's spelled ODYSEE.com. And my channel name over there is Pocono Tactical. I'll talk to you all soon.